Art apps. Love them or hate them, today I'll be redrawing them as anime characters using the actual apps they're based on. So maybe you can love them or hate them a little bit more. Watch until the end to see every app and comment below which drawing ends up as your favorite. Now let's begin with the infamous MS Paint. I had to choose the OG of all art apps. Arguably, this is the one I have the most experience in since I began using it 11 years ago. Have you ever heard people say, some are just born with natural talent in art? I always remember that when I look back at these old drawings. How could you see these masterpieces and not think, this guy's destined to have a successful art career? I know it's hard to believe, but one of these is a drawing and not a picture. Remember guys, people made fun of Picasso, but look where he is now. He's dead. Anyway, I channeled all of my previous knowledge and went to work. Designing the character, of course I had to focus on a main feature. This software is pretty dang old, though more unk than boomer old. And if you don't get what I'm saying, maybe that's a sign you're getting old. Actually, this website version I'm using to run this on my tablet is an earlier version. Nowadays it's completely different, and even though I miss how it was before, I understand why they did it. I mean, you can't deny that no one really took it seriously. MS Paint before was pretty much just a joke. Now they have generative AI, it's an even bigger joke. By now you can get what I was going for, a dapper old fella. At least I hope you can get what I was going for. I was struggling a lot. It was obviously never meant as a professional tool. It doesn't even have layers. It's like cooking a meal directly on the table. It gets really messy. Thankfully no one will be crazy enough to attempt making ultra realistic art in it. God damn it, I wasn't expecting the drawing old man in MS Paint category to be so competitive. Well, there he is, in all his pixelated glory. Honestly, not really proud of this piece, but that means it can only get better from here, and I can't wait to see your reaction to the drawings coming later in the video. So now, Sketchbook. This is another one I've been using for quite some time, though more recently, not from when I was a kid. It's a very popular free art app, with a mobile version released in 2009. Man, can you imagine using this on an iPod Touch? Also, sorry if it gets harder to tell what I'm doing, the time-lapse tool here always follows my zooms and flips. Based on the logo, I gave him some sharper features, and planned for that warmer color scheme. Now that we're getting to a serious professional app, sorry MS Paint, a button-up shirt shows as he's here for business, but a messier style shows he's still chill like that. Story time. While I was sketching this in class, one of my classmates said it looked hot. And I think he's straight, so maybe that means I'm on the right track. One of the biggest critiques against Sketchbook is that it lacks as many advanced brushes and effects as others. Now this might be just because I'm used to it, but it doesn't feel as limiting as some people say. Still, that's something you should keep in mind depending on the kind of art you make. Later on I came back to tweak a few things, mainly giving the shirt folds that actually make sense, using a reference instead of just making it up, which always makes it feel more real. What do you think of the final drawing? I like it. Fits Sketchbook's visual identity quite well. Considering it's a free app, it's surprising how it doesn't have any ads, especially when we go to the next. Ibis Paint. It's one of the most popular apps for drawing on mobile, targeted towards anime and manga. Although Sketchbook is also available on mobile, this is specifically created for it. Many users can also draw completely using their fingers, in the same way you can also draw with your feet. All respect to the people who draw on smartphones, but I can't think of a worse type of torture. Actually, I can. Let's get past this. During my research, this one had the most Gijinkas. If you're not Japanese or chronically online, you're probably thinking, what is a Gijinka? The truth is, you already know what it is. It just means turning stuff into anime characters. It's the entire concept of this video. Don't get me wrong, there were Gijinkas for other apps, but this one had the most out of all of them, which is great for inspiration, though honestly I basically only took the beret. For her, it went in a more ninja-ish style. And I'm not just talking about the blue hair, more about an agile pose and fit. Fun fact, Ibis Paint was released on my birthday. She's just like me, for real, for real. On my first time opening the canvas, I was lost. But honestly, I got used to it pretty quickly, because basically all you need in an art app is the brush and eraser. The rest you can learn as you go. In fact, if any of you want it, I can make a video drawing using only one brush and eraser. That could be fun. The ads aren't as intrusive as I thought they would be, and when you open the brushes, oh my gosh. I don't know in which situation I would need this, but I might just put myself in that situation to use this because I can. Also, before anyone gets mad at a color scheme, why did I ditch the rainbow? Well, the more colors you have, the harder it is to focus on details, and more likely it is that they'll clash in an unpleasant way. That's why I had to maintain the blue and white, as they're closely associated with the app, and added orange, which is complementary to blue, meaning they are opposite on the color wheel, so they pop out more when put together. But you can still find remnants of the rainbow circle if you look deep enough in our eyes. But not too deep, that'd be a bit weird. This time-lapse took really long to export, so what did you think? I liked her very much, but it's the rendering colors that truly carried this drawing for me. Let me tell you a little secret. This was the last design I made, so I believe I had better practice in this rendering style. Procreate, the most beloved paid drawing app specifically for iPad, sorry Android users. Now you might be thinking, that's unfair, you're comparing a paid app to free apps, you should be using the premium version of all these. First of all, this isn't a serious comparison, it's for a silly YouTube video. Second, this channel isn't monetized, so maybe if you subscribe I might be able to spend money on these videos. Now I have to give you some context, so pay attention. For a group school project I had to draw art apps as human characters. Don't question why, but that's where it all started. So the first thing that came to my head was the app I used, Procreate. I started sketching and came up with a simple chill artist guy, with hair like the squiggly line from the logo and glasses shaped like an app icon. Basic because I was focusing on creating a character that encapsulated the app's vibe and main features, and it fits the minimalistic aesthetic. So that's it, we're done, right? Well, not quite. Someone else from my group wanted to make a magical girl for her part. I thought, why not try to make another one to fit this theme? So did I plan on designing 2 characters for this? Not really. Did I end up doing it? Yeah, I did. So show me some appreciation, please like and subscribe. After the sketch I looked back and noticed that in comparison this guy got no sauce, no drip, nothing. He was very boring, so passing it to digital I had to add more accessories, while still trying not to depart from him just being a normal dude, if you can consider artists normal. I like that he's sort of dead inside, while his eyes are naturally bright pink, along with the facial hair he forgot to shave. Don't know if anyone could have guessed it, but an inspiration for his hair was Galarian Zorua. But like most hairs in this video, in the end I made it way smoother, and also put some colorful lines so that it doesn't end up flat. There he is. Definitely an improvement over the original concept. Some people look back at this sketch and immediately notice her face looks crooked. Hi, my name is Some People. That was pretty easy to fix. Designing this character was a mixture of traditional magical girl with a futuristic twist, since Procreate is the second youngest of all these apps, only beaten by Ibis Paint by a couple of months. You can see the base for her outfit is pretty magical girl-like, but darker and cyberpunkish. A feature that I'm proud of is making these Mary Jane shoes with a running sole, now they're Mary Jordans. Her staff is now a giant Apple Pencil. Does it have magical powers? Probably, but she doesn't know how to use them, so she just beats people with it. Works just as well. Aside from the obvious line featured everywhere in these illustrations, I had to use the color scheme, which may seem simple at first, but when the color palette is all colors, you have to limit yourself and choose the right colors, because with too many it loses focus. And I believe the pink to yellow transition, together with the dark gray, already reminds you of Procreate enough. I'm gonna be brutally honest with myself, this part is usually where I mess it all up, mostly because of flat coloring. Even though that may fit some pieces, this deserves some glossy textures, and a rim light, that glowing edge that takes a piece from good to perfect. I actually love this, and it's funny to think I almost didn't make it. Here are all of them, comment which is your favorite and if you use one of these apps. If any of you are the type of people that like creating stories for characters, feel free to write a backstory for these fellas. Maybe Paint is Ibis Paint's uncle, who knows? If you want more art content like this, you should watch this video next.